Yo, what's up guys? You got PokeAim here with a different video. Obviously you can read by the title. These are my favorite Pokemon of each type and why. Now I figured this would be a pretty chill video, something that's not so much competitive, though some of the reasons why these are my favorite Pokemon are competitive. Some of them are not at all. And I'll be going through each of them and why I like them. Um, and yeah, if you guys actually want to do this, I did this before on Twitter, but I have the link down below in the description, so you guys can go ahead and pretty much choose your favorite Pokemon. It doesn't have uh, Ash Greninja. I think that's something to note. It doesn't have Ash Greninja in here, so you can just post that. And like a lot of these, I obviously crudely edited on Photoshop. But yeah, let's just go ahead and start the video. So we'll go in order, all the way from here, left to right, until we get to Xerneas. So my favorite grass type is Shaman. Now, obviously, this is something that happened in 4th gen, but I obviously love Shaman, or I absolutely love Shaman because, one, it's so precious. Like, look at it. I straight up. This Mon looks so cute, right? And I love little hedgehog type creatures, right? But I think the main reason I really liked it had to be with competitive Pokemon. The fact that you guys know my favorite water type is Suicune, and we'll talk about why. But that Shaman was just such a reliable answer to it. Just being able to spam Seed Flares. I remember in DVP OU, I would Seed Flare, Leech Seed stall Blissey's out and beat entire teams. Skarmories would come in. They'd go down to Seed Flare, Spadef drop into HP Fire. Zapdos would be 1v1 by HP Ice after Seed Flare. And I really started to, I guess, respect Shaman as a Pokemon. And you might be like, well, isn't that just you using the Pokemon in battle and it ended up doing well? Yeah, sure. But, like, I really loved that about Shaman. The fact that it could be a good support Pokemon. Subsea was probably my favorite set in DVP. I also liked Rest, 3 attacks, Life Orb. And Protect Leech Seed is also another thing. Like, just being able to, like, Shaman was the type of Pokemon that always lured in the same things. Skarmory, Zapdos, Heatran, and occasionally Infernape during several portions of PvP on Shoddy Battle. And just being able to Leech Seed Protect, getting rid of, like, roughly 40% on Infernape upon switching, if you count Sand, if you count Stealth Rock, if you count Protect plus Leech Seed. So it was amazing. Being able to set up for something like Scizor in the back was so cool. Love this Pokemon for scouting. Its bulk, and it's easily my favorite grass type. Easily. Next up, fire types. As you see, I have two Pokemon here. Well, they're both the same, really. I have Charmander and Mega Charizard X. Charmander is my favorite starter of all time. It was my first starter back when I first played through Pokemon Red so many years ago. And yeah, I always loved Charmander. I also loved it in the anime as well, how it always followed Ash and would do anything for Ash. And then as it evolved into Charmeleon, it kind of reminded me of, at least now I see it, not back as a kid back then, but it reminds me of, when a kid grows up into a teenager and they start, being a little bit rebellious, and then I don't know, that teenager might have had to grow up too early into Charizard, and that boy was also pretty rebellious to Ash. But I always loved Charmander. Fire types were always my favorite starters, just straight up, and Charmander's easily my favorite fire type. It also reminded me of Agumon, and I was also watching Digimon back then alongside Pokemon, and Agumon is my favorite Digimon. Well, my favorite, like, pre-Digimon, like first stage Digimon. Or is that second stage? No, the baby before it would be, yeah, it's first stage. Actually, my favorite would be Black War Greymon. But anyway, we have Charmander and Mega Charizard X. The thing about Charizard is this would have been regular Charizard, but as a kid and seeing Charizard, I always, it's a fire-breathing dragon. That's how I always saw it, even though I obviously knew it was a fire-flying type, right? But I always wished it was a dragon type. And Shiny Charizard, which is a black Charizard, is my favorite shiny type of all, or my favorite shiny of all time. So when we got Mega Charizard X, I was so hyped that it was not only, black, but it was also part dragon. And I just fell in love with this immediately. And obviously, its competitive nature, the fact that it's so hard to switch into was just so cool. So those are my favorite fire types. My favorite water type, and also this is my favorite Pokemon of all time. My favorite Pokemon of all time, Suicune. I love Suicune since, like, its release, but I really started to appreciate it in ADV and in DVP when I saw what it could do in competitive. This was before, of course, the changes where Sleep Talk and stuff, which we have now. But like I just remember Calm Mind Suicune just 1v1ing everything, Calm Minding up, beating Blissey. Though Blissey would obviously bring Calm Mind, but more in DVP, Blissey didn't run Calm Mind. But I would love using Calm Mind, Rest Talk, Crocoon is what it was called, beating Blissey's 1v1, beating entire teams 1v1. Like this had the potential to beat entire teams at certain points in PvP. Even now, I think it could still beat certain teams, even though the metagame has really shifted towards Breloom plus Zapdos on like every team, and Sand as well. But I really, really respect Suicune, and back during my IRC days when I was in the MD clan, a friend of mine, he was in L2K, his name was Famine. He would post Wi-Fi battles, and it would always be him winning with Suicune, and I just loved it. And I was like, yeah, this is my favorite Pokemon. And so many times in PvP, I've won with either offensive Suicune or Crocoon, or even Calm Mind, Rest, HP Electric, Surf. Like, I love this Pokemon because it could deal with pretty much everything. Like, it had outs for everything. And then as we keep going up in the generations, eventually Vincoon was made, which was Sub, Calm Mind, Protect, Scald. Made me like Suicune even more. And even though it's fallen from grace for the most part, like it's down to UU, or it did fall down to UU, like it's shown to be a top tier threat. Being able to PP stall Clefables and entire teams, Feral Thorns, getting burns with Scald. Like Scald was just such a plus for it as well. And I always thought it was so cool. Like I always said, if I could have a real Pokemon, it would be Suicune, because I love that Suicune can purify the water. I remember in the Celebi movie, that Suicune would just run around in the water and purify. I thought it was so cool. Like I always like imagined like having a Suicune and just running around and giving water to everybody. Maybe that's also why I like Poland Spring so much. But yeah. Alright, so normal types, we got 3 here. We got Mega Kangaskhan, we have Miltank, the mascot, well, Whitney's Miltank, and then we have Kumala. So we'll start off with Kangaskhan, I suppose. I always wanted Kangaskhan's baby to be a Pokemon itself. I called it like little Kangajoey or Kangasroo. And when we finally got that, and how it came out of her pouch and they would both attack, I thought it was just so cool. That's really the reason. Like, I just thought the fact that it has a double attack every single time and it's boosted. Obviously they nerfed it this generation to do less, but the fact that it had a power up punch, it was such a giant threat in the metagame too. And I was just so excited when we ended up getting a little Kangasroo. I mean, obviously it's not its own Pokemon, right? But I just loved the fact that it could come out of the pouch and attack. Kamala was a Pokemon that I feel like a lot like me. A boy always tired, straight up. I love its moveset as well. Like I said, some of the stuff is for aesthetics, some of the stuff is for memories, and some of the stuff is for competitive. I love its moveset. I love the fact that it gets U-turn, rapid spin, and I just like the way it looks. I really hope this thing evolves. Maybe not this generation coming up, or you know, the continuation of 7th gen, but maybe in 8th gen. I really hope this Pokemon evolves. But I love the way it fights. I love that it can use Wood Hammer. It has a little log running around. I think it's so cool, and I'm happy we have a koala Pokemon too. So Miltank, it's pretty easy, or you could probably figure out why I love Miltank, but it's Whitney's signature Pokemon, and obviously I love Whitney. You guys know that that's like my thing. Whitney's mine. Like, ever since she beat me down back when I first played through Gen 2, repeatedly, by the way, with rollout and healing and rollout and rollout. Yeah, she kept clicking it. She don't miss. Ever since I went down like 4 or 5 times, like, wow, I like this girl a lot. I like it. This girl's tough. I had a lot of respect for that, and a lot of respect for Miltank, and I just thought it was so cool that it had like its own healing and milk drink as well. Like up until that point, I don't know, it was just such an annoyance to deal with, and the fact that it healed, it had cool, like the moveset would always beat down my Kulava. Like I would have Kulava by the time we obviously got to Whitney and Goldenrod City. But I don't know, it was just so cool. And I also saw like the way in the Pokemon anime as well, like when I was watching that as it was going on, like how it would make little holes in the ground. It was just so cool. It was such a cool Pokemon. I think it's such a cool Pokemon. And yeah, it's easily my favorite normal type. Like the other ones are also part of my favorite, but that's like my #1 favorite. So Fabio, the electric type Mega Ampharos. This has more so to do with Hita Fajita and the memories that this Pokemon has definitely made with me, and you know, I guess people call them the Hita Squad, but yeah, me and my friends. And when Rest Talk Fabio has just done so much for us in Hita Fajita itself, walled entire teams, taking earthquakes from landers and Excadrill, getting the right sleep talk whenever. I couldn't like not put Fabio as my favorite electric type. And when it also did so well for me in the UCL as well, I was so happy. Like I don't think I couldn't have won season 1 without this mon. Definitely. Another thing, obviously, you would put Manaphy in water, but I wanted to respect Suicune because it's my all-time favorite. I would put Manaphy here too because I love Manaphy. That's the captain. I absolutely love Manaphy, but Suicune is my all-time favorite water, and like nothing is close at all to it. So, my all-time favorite Pokemon. But yeah, I really love that. I love that we got a Dragon Electric. I also, besides Zekrom, obviously, and I also wish that it got like Draco Meteor. This thing is stronger than Latios without any investment at all. So I really hope this thing gets like an event move. I know it's probably not possible, but if they give an event move Ampharos with Draco Meteor, that'd be so cool. Just dropping Dracos with Fabio. Hard Body Reuniclus is my favorite Psychic type. This thing is broken. In black and white, I remember when it first came out, I wanted it banned. A lot of people wanted it banned, actually. Even now, like, it can break through stall on its own just because of Magic Guard, Calm Mind, Recover, Focus Blast. It has the options of Z moves now, so you can't even knock it off to do massive damage, and it has like a boosted move to be able to break through everything. And Trick Room is such a scary threat. I remember so many times I swept with this mon in 5th gen when it came out, 6th gen too, being able to beat Clefable's 1v1. Clefable's with Calm Mind Thunder Wave, and I Calm Mind right back and just beat him down with Psy Shot. I remember one battle versus Tamahome, or Draco Malfoy, you might know him. We were playing in 5th gen. He had Spadef Jirachi with Body Slam, Iron Head, you know, the Wish standard stuff, right? And I had Calm Mind Reuniclus, and I was paralyzed, and I 1v1'd him. I stalled him out of all his Iron Heads, all his wishes, as a Reuniclus. Just as a Reuniclus. I never switched my Reuniclus out. I got to +6 and I 1v1'd him. Stalled him out of everything, and I proceeded to be his entire... It was crazy. He would never get that last flinch on me, ever. And Reuniclus would just continue to recover up. And then because it was a Spadef Jirachi, Iron Head was only doing like 20% or so. So I was like, I was eating it up, and I ended up winning that. And like, I just always loved Reuniclus from there. Marshadow became my favorite fighting type as of recent. It probably would have been Hitmonlee, Hitmonchan, or Machamp, but I just love the way that this mon shook up whatever tier it was in. So it shook up OU, and it got Quick Ban right away. And then this mon is already shaking up the Uber tier. It's crazy that we have a Pokemon now that puts E-Color like down from to like A- viability. I love the way this mon shook up the metagame. I absolutely love Spectral Thief, and the way it looks is so cool too. Just like 1,000 Marshadows coming at you, and this thing's move pool is so cool. Technician, really, really, really love Marshadow from that. Onix is my favorite rock type. I always loved Onix since the beginning because it was so big. It was such a huge Pokemon. I actually never understood how a Pokemon like this would go down to, you know, like a Squirtle using Water Gun. Obviously, you know, 4 times effective and whatnot. I understood that, but like, this is a giant Pokemon. It could probably crush anything if it landed on it. And I always liked its a little roar when Brock used it. It was like, oh, Onix. Like, yeah, I'm here. I'm big. I'm bad. And I thought it was so cool though. Like in the Entei movie when the Teddiursa beat it down, but I was also so confused. I was like, "What? That makes 0 sense." I know she's using hack Pokemon. That's fine. That was the first case of hack Pokemon, by the way. That was a Pokegen Teddiursa. And the Onix just went down to a slash. I'm pretty sure it was Onix that put it down, not Fampy. It was Teddiursa that took down Onix. I'm pretty sure. I remember that. But I always think Onix was so cool. It's so fast too. I wish it was a lot stronger. It should be stronger. It's a giant rock. And this mon in Little Cup should be life-size, by the way. This mon should not die to any mon. Like, I have a lot of, like, I really love how strong it is, like, just looking-wise. But it's not actually strong, which makes me sad. But still, cool rock type. Big, giant rock, and I always thought it was so cool. I remember Bruno fighting versus an Onix at one point, and that Onix was huge as well before I think he caught it. So that was pretty cool, too. So ground type. It's probably a tie between Garchomp and Nidoqueen. Nidoqueen since Gen 1 I thought was sick, having such a cool move pool. Well, in Gen 1 it didn't really have a cool move pool, but like as we kept going up, it had such a cool move pool. Sludge Wave, Earth Power, Sheer Force. Poison Ground is such cool typing too, having access to Toxic Spikes and Stealth Rock. And I actually always loved it more than Nidoking too because of its bulk. I thought its bulk was just to be respected. And the fact that it can check stuff. I think in Gen 5, I really started to respect this mon because in Black and White 1, Terrakion was broken. In Black and White 1, Terrakion was broken. Okay? I don't care what anybody says. Terrakion was broken. And Nidoqueen is a mon that could come in on all of its hits. Get the poison point on it too. Poison that mon. Set up Stealth Rock. Threaten it with Earthquake or Earth Power respectively. That was so cool. And then Garchomp. That's young Strongjaw right here. This boy is so cool. I remember Cynthia fighting with it. Garchomp flying in the air. This mon got like banned in DPP. I loved it. It was banned again in 5th gen as well until we got, well, when Sandvale was banned. But we also got the rough skin, so I was happy when we got that so we could use this mon again. Really, really bulky, extremely bulky Pokemon. Accessosaurus Dance. I feel like if we got Dragon Dance on this mon, it'd actually be broken, especially with Z moves now. Imagine, because you know, a Flygon can run Dragon Dance, Dragonium Z, and deal with fat Pokemon. Well, imagine a Dragon Dance, Dragonium Z, or Tectonic Rage, Garchomp. And it looked like a shark, so it was pretty cool. Flying type is Tornadus. That's all reliable. Like, I mean, all reliable is Tyranitar, but this is the flying type all reliable. Assault Vest, this boy takes any hit. I remember when this mon got banned in 5th gen. Assault Vest takes any hit. Hurricane in the Rain is broken. 30% chance to confuse. The fact that it has U-turn, utility, and knockoff. Taunt as well. And this mon can really run anything too. I really love this mon in League format. I think that's really made me like it even more, just playing in League format. But the fact that this mon does not care. With an Assault Vest, it'll strike off any move. It can run Ice and it can run Heat Wave, Hidden Power even, Acrobatics, Superpower. Such a cool Pokemon. And such a cool Therian form too. If Greninja eventually does get banned, which I'm pretty sure it will, I'm pretty sure we'll see a rise in Tornadus. Even though there are Pokemon like Tapu Koko running around. But we will definitely see a rise in Tornadus. My favorite bug types, I really like the new gen bug types of Araquanid and Golisopod. I like Araquanid's designs. I really like Arachnids. I was about to call them Arachnids. I really like Arachnids. Spiders. Excuse me. I really like spiders. I love spiders and wolves. And penguins. But yeah, I really like spiders. It's so interesting to me. And I love its ability. Its ability is probably one of the best I've ever seen. How you can have like 3 different things. You boost up your water moves, have fire type damage, and you're immune to burn. It's such a cool ability on Araquanid, man. And yeah, I love how hard it hits with Liquidation. Just the way it looked, I just thought it was so cool. Like, I already knew I wanted this mon on my team before Sun and Moon actually came out. I don't know, you guys saw I did a video of like what my Sun and Moon team would be. I knew I wanted Araquanid. Golisopod's another cool Pokemon. This mon is a behemoth. It's actually a Goliath. Like, straight up. I love the way it looks. I wish it had any ability that wasn't Emergency Exit. Like, I mean, granted, Emergency Exit is cool. I always talk about how, like, if I don't know what to do, I'll toss in Golisopod and then get on out of there. The fact that its first impression is ridiculously strong. That Choice Bandit Oko's Flygon, which is crazy. Being able to Revenge Kill Flygon is ridiculous. Revenge Killing Salazzle with Aqua Jet. I just love the way it looks. I really do wish that it got some sort of secondary ability, man. I don't like Emergency Exit on it. I don't like the fact that I had to switch out. Like, it's Bug Water is really cool typing. Just being naturally resistant as well to a Pokemon like Mamoswine, for example. It was really cool. Setting up Spikes. That's such a cool moveset, too. Like Spikes, First Impression, tons of priority, Sucker Punch, Aqua Jet, Liquidation, Leech Life, Poison Jab. Like, it's such a cool mon. And, I really wish it didn't have Emergency Exit, honestly. And I hope for in the future it doesn't. Stunky is my favorite poison type. This happened in DVP. I started playing a lot of Little Cup, and I was just so impressed by how this little Pokemon could use Explosion and just splatter itself, and like whatever was on the opposing side would just die. I just thought it was so cool. It could run Fire Move, it could run Hidden Power, Pursuit Trapper. I just really loved it in DVP, Little Cup, and from then on I just always loved Stunky. Murkrow, another Pokemon that I really liked back in the day, before this mon got banned in certain tiers, but really thought it was so cool being able to use Brave Bird, really fast speed, Sucker Punch as well. Also, Little Hat that Elo used before back in Wi-Fi battles. I thought that was pretty cool. Little Hat. Feather Dance Priority. When they gave it Prankster, I thought that was so cool. And obviously next to it you see another Pokemon, Yveltal. I love Yveltal. Absolutely love Yveltal. One of my favorite Pokemon from the 6th generation. Love using it in Ubers. I used it, I think, every week in the Ubers Premier League of Yveltal because it was so good. Dark got so much better with the Dark buff, like when Steel stopped resisting it and whatnot. And the fact that it had Sucker Punch, its own ability, boosting it, U-turn. Oblivion Wing is such a cool move, too. Just the amount of health that you actually recover. And just the way it looks. Like, I mean, Shiny looks like a piece of bacon, but, like, It just looks so cool. And Dark Flying is such good stab, man. Flying type is such a good stab to have, especially when you have it coupled with something that could deal with all of its resistances. So Ghost type would have to be Mimikyu. It used to be Aegislash, but I think it has to be Mimikyu. The idea of a Pokemon like wearing a mask because it mimics another Pokemon like Pikachu really was like whoa for me. I love its ability to disguise. I actually wish it was more like Substitute where it actually avoided status, but I think that might have been a little bit too broken. But Fairy Ghost, such cool typing. I love the combination of that. Honestly, if Mimikyu got like just a little bit more speed and attack, woof. This Mon, man, such good resistances and such good offensive presence as well. The fact that it looked like Pikachu, and I really like the one in the Sun and Moon anime that actually hates Pikachu. I think that's pretty cool. I haven't like watched most of the Sun and Moon anime. I only watched like the first 10 episodes, I want to say. But like the fact that it doesn't like Pikachu, it's angered about it. I think that's pretty cool. That's a different perspective about that. So ice types, we have a few. Beartic. We'll start off with Beartic. So Beartic originally started off with a meme. I think it was, it might have been the Smogon, it was some Smogon tournament. Smogon Frontier, I think it might have been. Either that or on PO, where Weepone said, well, one of them was using a Beartic, and then I think Weepone said, oh, what do you have for a well-played Beartic? I know I started saying that, and Butter started saying that whenever we use it. And the mom would actually put it in work occasionally, so since then, I always liked Beartic. I think polar bears are so cool, and obviously, you can tell I like it because I called myself the Bronze Beartics in the UCL, just in honor of Beartic. Cryogonal is a Mon that I loved. I think it was my #1 used Mon in Black and White NU. I played Black and White NU a lot with my boy Rick, Dangerous 36M, and Cryogonal was the Mon that I love to put on because there were Pokemon like Shell Smash, Gorbis, which were pretty much broken back there. Black and White 1 NU. I'm not talking about Black and White 2 NU. Black and White 1 NU. To be a Rapid Spinner that could also haze away like the boosted Gorbis, take a +2 hit easily. Rapid Spinner have that high speed tier, have Recover as well. I loved it. I would pair this with like something like Camera Up in the tier. I remember when Amoonguss was in NU too, but like. Yeah, it was just such a cool Mon, and I loved it as a spinner, so this Snowflake actually became one of my favorite ice types. And then Weavile, got a lot of respect for Zeph out of the UCL, and I always love Weavile, especially with DVP when you can run like Weavile Magnezone and actually do work, since if you got rid of Scizor and Skarmory, Weavile was actually a big threat. Outspeeds +1 Tyranitar, knocked it out with Low Kick, Priority Ice Shard for Flygon, Night Slash / Pursue for the Rotom forms and Starmie, as well as Ice Punch. Unfortunately, didn't have Ice Crash back then, but as well as Ice Punch for Zapdos and Gliscor. And then the fact that as the generations came, Dark type got a buff, and it got knockoff. Well, it already had knockoff, but and it had knockoff, which got boosted, and it got Ice Girl Crash. So Weavile just got a lot better and a lot better and a lot better as the generation kept going, especially based on what was being used. Like you had the Lottie twins being used, and just Weavile being able to click knockoff and whatnot. Like I would compare Weavile to Mamoswine in the sense that it's really tough to switch into, really tough to switch into, but Weavile is just faster, and whereas Mamoswine has to sometimes tank a hit to do work, but still really tough to switch into. Dark Ice, Ground Ice, really tough to switch into, and the Dark buff, the fact that knockoff got a buff as well, made Weavile that much better. So Steel types, Steelix has to be one of them. Steelix easily has to be one of them. I told you how I liked Onix. I really like Steelix because when Jasmine used it back in Gen 2, it was just pretty much just a cool evolution to the rock type that I loved. And when we got Mega Steelix, oof, that was fire. That mod is actually pretty flames. I still wish that Steelix obviously got a buff, but this is also Young Strong Jaw over here. Really wish it got a buff in attack. I think it just needed it. At least regular Steelix, if it got a buff. Hopefully next generation we get some, because every single generation we usually get like some sort of buff to Pokemon. Like we got Pelipper and Mantine getting buffed this generation, just to name a few, and that really bumped up their usage now. Mantine's UU, and Pelipper is OU now. So that's crazy. I don't think anybody would have been able to call Pelipper being OU in last generation. But yeah, I love Steelix, love the way it looks, love that it's so big and huge. It's this giant steel thing, and I just think it's so cool. And if you use Iron Tail, its tail lights up. Mega Scizor or regular Scizor. Well, I also love Mega Scizor. But Scizor in general is also one of my favorite steel types. Sweeping with SD, quick attack, back in the day in DPP, knocking out Infernus and whatnot. Choice Band being such a giant threat. Love Scizor, and I love that in Platinum they actually got Bullet Punch, so it had some great style to abuse that technician. I remember when we had to use SD, like SDX Scissor with Brick Break. Those are the days. But yeah, got a lot better as a Pokemon, and when it Mega, it just got so good, man. Such great utility, and I absolutely love this Pokemon. So Dragon types, I mean, this is really easy. The Lottie Twins, by far my favorite. I would also put Father up here as well, like Zygarde complete, but it's nowhere near close to the Lottie Twins, and I have equal love for both of them. Always liked them ever since I saw the Pokemon Heroes movie. That's my favorite Pokemon movie of all time, by the way. Easily my favorite Pokemon movie of all time. That's the reason why I want to go to Venice. But, well, I'm also part Italian, so I would want to go to Venice anyway. But, yeah, I always loved them. I loved how great they were in competitive. I remember using Latias all the time on Semi-Stall and DVP before that boy got banned, well, that girl got banned. And, 6th gen, when they got Megas. I didn't like the way the Megas looked too much. I wish the Megas looked cooler. Honestly, more to, you know, differentiate them from each other. I don't like their color. I really did like the red and blue scheme of Latios and Latias. But love dropping Dracos. Like, drop a Draco is my catchphrase, man. Even though I don't get to say it as much this generation because of the abundance of fairy types, that is my catchphrase, and I still love dropping Dracos. And I don't say it now because, oh, I want to force this catchphrase on you. No, it's just something that, out of habit, it's harder for me to say Draco Meteor than it is for me to say drop a Draco. Drop a Draco just comes like that, like straight up like that. And I absolutely love the Lottie Twins, just straight up. Calm Mind, Choice Scarf, Healing Wish, Memento. You could use them in all tiers. When Soldu was buffed, you could use them in Ubers too and put in work. They were so cool, man. It's so cool. I love Latios and Latias, and I always will. I actually have little figurines in my car of Latios and Latias. I see that when I'm driving. Well, I don't look down when I'm driving because that's why I'm crashing people. But Xerneas, last but not least, Xerneas is my favorite fairy type of all time. Much like a Veltal, this is a Pokemon that I spammed in Ubers back when it came out, especially in the Ubers, not Ubers Premier League, but SPL for Ubers. I don't know why I say Ubers Premier League, but in SPL for Ubers, I did really well with Xerneas and a Veltal. Geomancy Xerneas is pretty busted in itself. I love Scarf because it could just spam Moonblast. And the thing I love most about Scarf Xerneas is the fact that it opens up a door for itself. Like, by going for Moonblast and Primal Groudon coming in, you take off about 30%, right? And then later, if it comes in with Stealth Rock out, you get 2 at KO. So, like, this is a type of Pokemon that sets up for its own sweep. You never have to Geomancy immediately. I was pretty ecstatic when we were allowed to use Ubers in VGC, and I saw Geomancy Xerneas putting in a lot of work. I thought that was really cool. And the fact that aromatherapy, like, I swept so many times. Like, the metagame back then was a lot of Klefki, so they used Thunderwave. But if you use Geomancy aromatherapy, whew, Klefki goes down. And now we got Z Geomancy with Ingrain. I'm on borderline busted, depending on the tier. But yeah, Xerneas has to be my favorite fairy type alongside, you know, its counterpart. Veltal is one of my favorite dark types. And obviously not all of it is for the way they look. But I do love the way the Veltal looks. And I love the Lottie Twins. I absolutely love the Lottie Twins. But yeah, feel free to tell me your guys' favorite Pokemon down below. You can actually fill out this little thing. Hopefully your comments won't be marked as spam. If they are, I'll just, you know, unspam them when I'm going through comments later. But feel free to check out this site. I'll link it down below. That's where I did all this stuff. And then the other stuff I just, you know, photoshopped on. But hopefully you guys, I mean, I don't know if I can say enjoy it, but like learn something about me maybe, why I like certain Pokemon. A lot of them, either the metagame or the memories, like Fabio, for example, all the memories that Pokemon had. Fajita Fajita. Like, I just laugh when I think about Fabio in a good way. But in any case, guys, hope you guys all enjoyed. Thank you everybody for watching. And yeah, I'll see you guys tomorrow. Also, check out the NU Road to Top 10. It has started. It should have went up at 6 p.m. I'm sorry that my videos all got out a little bit late today. But it's mainly because I just was a little bit busy today. But I'll see you guys next time. Goodbye, my friends.